Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, it's me Aiman Zaidan, and in this opportunity I'm going to present about comparing and contrasting. And as usual, this video was made for basic writing course assignment, which is lectured by Ma'am Dewi Nopita. All right, before we start, I would like to explain, slight introduction. So when we are writing, we will need to show how things are familiar or different. And when we compare those things or two things, if we show they are familiar, it means that we are comparing. And if we show that those things are different, it means that we are doing contrasting. And let's see, in this discussion, in this opportunity, we're going to discuss about 5 sub points, which are: the first one is the language comparison and comparative sentences. The second one is writing a paragraph of comparison. The third is the language of contrast and contrast itself. Fourth is writing a paragraph of contrast. And the last is science experiment and gathering data for comparison and contrast. Let's move to the first discussion. It's about the language comparison and comparative sentences. So as you guys can see, there are two patterns of comparative sentences. The first is affirmative sentences, and the second is negative sentences. Oh, sorry, I forgot to bold this one. I'm sorry. Yep, so got this. So there are two patterns of comparative sentences. Okay. The first one is affirmative sentences, and the second is negative sentences. And both of these patterns have two types, which are to be and other verbs. We could use with to be, RMS, or with other verbs like does or do. It depends on the subject. Okay, let's discuss about the first one, the affirmative sentences. Let's see over here. We use to be as the comparing a vocabulary. The comparing word is to be, are, am, or is, depends on the subject. Let's see here. We have two sentences. The first sentence is Ma'am Dewi Nopita is a lecturer, and the second sentence is Ma'am Dewi Murni is a lecturer. And we are going to combine these two sentences into one comparative sentences. Okay, but you have keep in note that both of the sentences have to be similar. Okay, not different. Similar is a lecturer, and the result will be like this: Ma'am Dewi Nopita is a lecturer and Ma'am Dewi Murni is too, or Ma'am Dewi Nopita is a lecturer and so is Ma'am Dewi Murni, like that. And if we are using other verbs right here, we could see their first sentence is South Korea produces smartphones, and the second sentence is China produces smartphones. Okay, these two are the same sentences. They have the same purpose, same meaning. Okay, produces smartphones, and we're going to combine these two sentences into one, which it will be a comparative sentences. Okay, South Korea produces smartphones, China produces smartphones, and it will be like this: South Korea produces smartphones and China does too, or South Korea produces smartphones and so does China. And then let's see for the second patterns about negative sentences. Okay, it's the same with to be and other verbs. Let's see. The first sentence is there: the teachers are not lazy. Okay, negative. It's not about the meaning, but the type of the sentence is negative, not, using the word not over here. The teachers are not lazy, the students are not lazy. And we're going to combine these two sentences. It will be like this: the teachers are not lazy and the students are not either, or the teachers are not lazy and neither are the students. And if we use the other verbs, it will be like this: cats don't lay eggs, dogs don't lay eggs. It's similar. And if we transform this into a comparative sentences, it will be like this: cats don't lay eggs and dogs don't either, or cats don't lay eggs and neither do dogs, like that. Next, we're moving to the next point, still in the first subtopic. Instead of using to be or other verbs, do or does, are, am, is, we could also use as to show comparison like this, blank, 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 the same, blank, 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 as, blank, 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 like this. Muklis speaks the same language as Fatur, or double S and S. Roses are as beautiful as orchids, like that. And these are some vocabularies that we may need to show comparison, that we may need to use to show comparison. Similar to, similar, and, blank, 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 to, and, blank, 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 either, and so, and neither, both, have, in common, the same as, be like that. Next, we're trying to write down a paragraph, the comparison paragraph. Okay, over here I've tried to write down about something that I know about the two masterpieces. Let's read it. Okay, your name is the title of a movie, and Jose the Tiger and the Fish also the name of movie. Your Name and Jose the Tiger and the Fish are Japanese animated movies with high quality. Both movies have a high definition graphics. From the audio quality, Your Name, which is officially released on 2016, has soothing background music along the storyline, and so does Jose, okay, using the comparative word over here, which is released on 2021. From the storyline itself, these two movies provide heart-touching and unforgettable scenes in audience minds. At the end of Your Name storyline, the two main characters, Taki and Mitsuha, finally managed to get together, and we could say that this is a happy ending. The same as Your Name, both of Jose's main characters, Tsuneo and Kumiko, were finally confessed to each other and managed to take care of each other's feelings until the rest of the story. In writer's opinion, both movies are highly recommended to be watched. Okay. Next discussion is about the language of contrast and contrast itself. Okay, there are also two parts to show contrast. The first is like this: adjective plus er, brighter, darker, taller, smaller, thinner, like that. It's adjective plus er, and then followed by then. Like example, LED lights are brighter than light bulbs. Black is darker than gray. And we could also use more plus adjective and then followed by then. Cooking is more fun than doing nothing. Pizza is more delicious than spaghetti, like that. We could also use most or adjective plus est, is, to show the most or contrast between among three or more things, like this. Aaron is the tallest person in the class. Tallest, he is the most tall person in the class. Intan is the cutest child in the kindergarten. Basic writing is the most challenging course in this semester. Apple is the most expensive gadgets brand in this world. Okay, and also these are expressions that we could use to show contrast. However, on the other hand, less than, but, different, different from, more than, and adjective plus er plus than, like brighter than, an example here. On the contrary, the adjective plus est, the most, like that. And this is the paragraph of contrast that I have tried to write down. To see, let's read it together. Tanjung Pinang and Pekanbaru are both comfortable to live in with different reasons. Pekanbaru has more malls and department stores than Tanjung Pinang. Use than over here. But Tanjung Pinang has more natural vacation sites, such as beaches. If you love to go shopping, you might rather live in Pekanbaru. Since Pekanbaru has larger area, the citizens are more crowded than Tanjung Pinang, which is only a small island compared to Pekanbaru. If you hate for being stuck in traffic jam, you might consider to live in Tanjung Pinang. For the culinary, Pekanbaru cuisines are more similar to West Sumatran cuisines, different from the culinary in Tanjung Pinang, which is more related to Malaysian cuisines. We use the signal words different from over here to show differences or contrast. And finally, the concluding sentence. In brief, both cities have their own advantages and it depends on ourselves to choose where to live. And finally, we have reached the final discussion. It's about the science experiment and gathering data for comparison and contrast. So basically, while we are writing a scientific research, we might compare one data to another to find differences and contrasts between them. If we want to gather the data, we might want to list some questions to help us while dividing the information, whether they are similar or different. All right, my friends, I think that's all from our discussion in this opportunity. I'm sorry if I've made some mistake or something not right. If you guys have comments, critics, suggestions, or discussions, don't forget to mention it in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. See you in my next video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.